care about that. I swear the most exciting part of the day is just talking to everybody.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Love the engagement.
That's the best part. I wonder if I'm getting any comments. I'm not wearing a hat today. So I did have someone commented like on a couple streams ago and said, I swear Mike sleeps with that hat on, wakes up with that hat on, showers with the hat on.
Do you, though?
No.
Come on.
Play hockey with it. Man, I'm kind of concerned sometimes, like when I have this headset on for so long, that like I'm just gonna get a nice big bald spot on top of my head.
Dude,
But
I've already accepted it. I'm at peace with it at this point.
like big fluffy hair.
But I don't wear a hat as much as you do, so
Yeah.
I'm less concerned about getting bald, more so that I'm just gonna have a line in my head.
Like yeah, like most of my family has like pretty like nice hair. So, because I know like baldness is hereditary. Kind of a weird conversation to talk about.
Hereditary.
But, good movie.
Great movie.
What's up, guys? What's going on? What's up, Ray?
Hey, boys.
Ray, we're back on the stream grind again. So I sort of lied to you and I said we're not going to be.
Gabe, afternoon, buddy. How are you doing?
We'll let everyone jump in here quick. This is going to be a hard slate tonight, guys. I'm not sure if anyone's taken a peek at some of the games tonight yet, but
Mike Zip scored.
no, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Oh my god. Just want to let everyone know that I am rocking the Zibanejad jersey today. Hoping that he scores a goal. But someone was saying in chat that he's playing with Panarin right now, so in our Discord.
They have to do something to get him going.
Yeah, they do.
Legit anything.
Poor guy. This might be the biggest slump I've ever seen since I started following hockey. How do I join the Discord? Gabe, go in the description, and there should be a link tree. Click it, and then it should directly link you to a Discord. Like there should be options, and just click the Discord link. Let me know if that works and if there's any complications, because I haven't updated it in a couple weeks. If not, I can just directly invite you and then figure out the link later. McDavid special tonight. Yeah, we'll get to that. Today's a hard one, so I don't know. Don't care about that. We'll wait for some people to get in here.
We're keeping the Flames D the same. That's actually funny. Good for Don for doing that.
Ooh. I try to find link. Yeah, Clarky, can you go in the description of the YouTube and click the link tree? Yeah, tell me if it works.
Yeah. The link tree works. Clicked on the Discord button.
Yeah.
And it brought me right in there.
Yeah, because we're already in. So, yeah, Gabe, let me know if that works for you and if there's any problems.
Gabe, I'll even throw it in the chat there for you.
Ooh. Ray, I saw you asking about my lineup yesterday, so I actually have it up here. I just want to get it so like you guys don't. Okay, that should be good. So I had the Stastny line, and that was a late swap, so they actually weren't confirmed before the game that they were a line. If you did it right from DraftKings, this line was not together. But yeah, I took the Trocheck, Niederreiter, Nichas line. That's a line that we've liked all year. And then I had Hamilton as the correlated defenseman. DeHaan as a one-off. I just wanted to kind of get away from the ownership. I know Valimaki at that price was like 13% owned yesterday. So I knew I had to get away from the ownership, and I figured it was going to be kind of high shot volume towards Chicago, and that he's a block machine. And then I correlated Brossoit, which is something I've been doing actually you don't correlate as much as I do, but I correlated my goaltender, and it's been burning me all year, and this is like the first time it's actually paid off. But he looked great last night, barely any ownership, and I placed 11th and I had a line that did not score a point yesterday. They had Kopp and Stastny both had 3 blocks, so they had the block bonus. The way I was thinking of it yesterday, I'm like, it's like I took like a bunch of value defensemen, and they just got me like a few shots and a few blocks each, but no points. So if they had a full line goal, I would have been in first. So kind of sad because everything went right, except for the 18K line that I paid up for didn't produce a point. So that's where I'm at from last night. But it feels good to be back. I've been on a little bit of a skid, but I've been putting a lot more time into the season long and our projections and producing content than I have been DraftKings. I had a lot of Canucks. Yeah, man. Brossoit was great yesterday. That was a good game. I'm not sure if anyone tuned in, but it's a good game. Thoughts on Hall? I like Hall still.
It's tough to get away from guys like that, right? Like, especially, like, even though Zib, we talked about it, he's just, like, in the biggest slump right now. Like, he's still just a talented enough player that he could go back to producing at, like, his two goals per, or 2 point per game rate that he was, like, at the end of last season. Like, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Zib, and, like, the thing with Zib, too, and I definitely want to put an emphasis on this, is, like, yeah, he had an outlier year last year where he scored 41 and 50, but the year before he had 34 goals and 40 assists. So it's not like last year was just a one and done, because he had a 74-point season and then topped it off with like 75 points in 59 games, whatever it was. So it's not like he just had one really strong season, because in his career he's been pretty good. And even watching him last year, like, he was elite. Every night we watched, we were like, dude, this guy buzzes. His shots are so good. But all right, I guess we'll jump into the slate. We got 15 people in here right now. It's crazy when you don't stream for like a week, and the viewer count just drops a bunch. But some of the normal people in here, some people will come in as the stream goes on. But I guess we'll get started tonight. So guys, I just want to say before we start this, like, this is a very tough night of DraftKings tonight. Like, probably one of the more difficult nights I've seen since I've been playing for 3 years now. But this is definitely a night where I think that the ownership's going to be spread a bunch, and you have a ton of opportunity to have leverage on the field, especially if you're getting away from specifically 2 games. And we'll get into that. But first game, Islanders Penguins. So this was a 4-1 Penguins win last game. Tristan Jarry has been standing on his head the last 2 games. I hope for lunch, if you don't have any food at your house, you can just eat your words. I think that'll be a pretty good meal for you. But
there it is.
So did some digging before the slate. It looks like the Barzal Lee Bailey line was pairing against the Malkin Russ Zucker line. And that's kind of interesting, because it looks like this Crosby line's been struggling a bit 5-on-5. But I think this game's going to be pretty low event. And if I'm going to go anywhere tonight, I think it's gonna have to be Islanders 1. I just like the 2 power play 1 correlated players. Jerry is one of the worst goalies in the league for penalty kill save percentage. And that's kind of a weird stat to look at that no one really knows about. But Jerry's worse than the NHL for penalty kill save percentage. So if the Islanders can get a few power play goals today, hope to see Lee and Barzal there on the score sheet. But I think that's the only line I'm really interested in. The second line's all right. I'm not a fan of the price tag, especially on Nelson and Eberle. And then Bellows is just, like, if you're going to play this line, I don't know if I would even play Bellows with them. I think you're better off just finding a one-off player, and we'll get to one of the players tonight that's in a really good spot as a one-off. But I think tonight, just Islanders 1 for me if I'm going anywhere in this game. And then on the defensive side, Pulak's always fine as like a shot block, shot volume guy, and you're kind of hoping for maybe an assist, but just hasn't been getting it done too much for me. And then Semyon Varlamov at 7,300, I think is Varmalov. I don't even want to say it anymore. I'm typically pretty good with the name pronunciations, but
yeah, it's usually me that always messes it
yeah.
up.
But I think at the 7,300 price tag, it's very favorable for him, and you're kind of just hoping for the shot volume from the Penguins, maybe 30 plus saves from Varlamov tonight. So he's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, I definitely think Varlamov's a good option for his price there. That's fine. I'm kind of off of the Islanders D, except for potential. Like, even Noah Dobson's a little bit priced up for 4,600. I think that's a little bit too expensive for my taste. Same thing with Pulak at 5,100. Like, it's just there's better options on the slate tonight that I'd rather go to. Unless you're getting that Islanders one line and then you want to correlate one of the power play one defensemen, I think either one is fine. It's not a huge price differentiation for what Pulock is giving you over Dobson for that power play potential, and you're just hoping that if you do go with the cheaper option in Dobson, that he's the one that's just kind of dishing the puck around. But Islanders one has been kind of inconsistent this season, to say the least. Like Barzal's shot totals have just been weird. Like one game he gets 6 shots, the next he'll get 1, and then he'll get like 0 the next one, and then the following game he'll get like 7. Like they've just been inconsistent. But if there's one little spot of consistency on that top line, it's been Anders Lee. He's just been fantastic for the Islanders so far. I'm just looking at his game log right now, like over 10 fantasy points in 5 of his last 6 games. So he's always a good option at 6,100, and if he's on the score sheet, chances are Barzal is going to be there right beside him. So I think Islanders one is a solid pick tonight against a Penguins team that have been on the uptrend in terms of just their overall team defense, I would say. But I'm still not 100% convinced on it. So I think out of every matchup tonight, there's still some like justification to get to Islanders one tonight.
And something we found as a theme this year is this line's been getting like 2% ownership every night. So you're definitely getting away from the ownership if you take them. All right, so Penguins won tonight. Kapanen's up on the top line. I follow a guy on Twitter, Jay Fresh. I know you follow him too, but he really emphasizes that Kapanen actually is like not good for teams' lines. I don't think his offensive upside kind of fares with some of the players on this Pittsburgh team. And he was saying that trade was a huge downgrade for the Penguins. But I mean, that's just looking at it analytically than the eye test. And I know we both watched him play in Toronto, and he was pretty good. But Penguins won tonight. It looks like they're facing off against Islanders too. I don't think Bellows is going to be the best defensive forward there tonight, but probably a little bit better than... sorry, is Bovilli back tonight? Is that what I'm seeing? Are the lines different? I'm just looking over here. It looks like Bovilli is back. Like if they go back to their regular Islanders 1-2 lines, is he on third?
Bovilli, Nelson Bailey, and then Lee, Barzal, Eberle.
Oh, so they did go back to their OG lines.
Yep. Wallstrom on the third line. With,
with if you want to switch that up quickly, but that just makes you more inclined to take Islanders one, because we know how good that top Islanders line is with Eberle there. That's interesting. So that must have been late news. I think Don did the sheet last night. Anyways, so Penguins 2 tonight. Rust is up on the second line. Thank God. Rust and Malkin lines have always been like really good. So I'm really happy to see him back there. I think you're fine to go Penguins 2 tonight. Just because, like the price tag, like Malkin at 5,400 is not going to stay. We're definitely going to see him over 6K very soon. So, I mean, not too much in this game. Like you can definitely go to it because the ownership's going to be low. But I think there's just better spots tonight. And then Chris Letang at 5K, always a good play at that price tag. Another guy that I think is going to be over the 6K range very soon. And then Mike Matheson is someone that I've had as a one-off the last couple of days. He's a high shot volume defenseman who's been playing over 20 minutes a night with these Penguin injuries right now. So I don't mind Mike Matheson at the 3K price tag if you're trying to pay down for a defenseman. And then Tristan Jarry at 8K. I just think there's better spots on the slate tonight.
Yeah, as good as Jerry's been in the past couple games here, I would just rather go with somebody like Vasilevsky, who's 7,800 tonight, which we'll get to later on. But in terms of D, like Letang's price is still super cheap. Like I think 5K is a great price for him, even as a one-off defenseman. Like that's a good option. Plays a lot of minutes, power play one time. You know he's talented offensively, so that's a good spot for me tonight. But I think the Penguins splitting their line makes me a little bit more inclined to go with the second line now that Malkin has seemed to kind of get like a toehold back on his game. And Rust has been fantastic as of late. So I think just that little $100 price difference does it for me, especially because, like you said, Kapanen, he's a bizarre sense that he doesn't do much other than kind of just go north-south. Like he's not very good with his hands, or he doesn't have like a good shot or anything. And in terms of DraftKings, like he's not shooting like from my knowledge, like 4 or 5 times a night usually, right? So I think I would just rather go with the slightly cheaper option, get Malkin, and then get Rust with them as well.
So something to keep in mind, and I've been seeing it all over Twitter today, is it's Crosby's 1,000th NHL game. So it could be a storyline pick tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
really digging into the narratives, are we?
Yeah. All right. So Predators, Blue Jackets. I'm going to be pretty quick with this game, and we talked about it before the show. There's just not much to like from either side. And the reason being, the Predators lines are extremely spread out. You're getting no power play correlation between any of the lines. There's just nothing to like here. And the Jackets play a pretty hard-nosed defensive game. They have good goaltending. It's just, I think this game is going to be extremely low event. And there's just nothing here I really like a lot. And you know this is going to be the best game tonight because I'm saying this, and that's how it works. But, if you play this slate 1,000 times, I think this game is relevant maybe 10. So I'm just not interested at all on the Predator side. The only place I'm really interested is Yossi at 6,800. It's always a good play. But other than that, there's just nothing at all I like tonight.
Yeah, I said it yesterday. I thought Chicago was in a really good spot, and they end up only burying 3 and losing the game 5-3. So that's my luck for me right there. But yeah, Yossi always a good option. Anytime he's under 7K, I just like start to drool from my mouth a little bit. So I love him tonight. Dante Fabro is a little bit priced up for me. Usually I like to see him around
36.
Like, he was like min price earlier in the year at some points.
Yeah.
But good for him getting back into his regular shooting form there and getting some power play time. Saros 7,200. It's not a bad option. I think I would rather go with somebody like
even Varlamov.
If Cal Peterson even sees the goal tonight for the Kings, which is the next game we'll talk about, he's probably just like a better option for his price, I would say.
Yeah.
And then in terms of the Blue Jackets, I'll just quickly go over it. I think if you're going anywhere, it's got to be the first line. Line A, Roslovic have looked great. Roslovic is just like apparently an elite, somehow puck handling, moving player now all of a sudden, which I was unaware of. He's just doing some weird stuff, but he's definitely found his game in Columbus here. And him and Line A both look great. They're both on power play 1, so. You pair Seth Jones with him for 5,900, and I think that's honestly a pretty good spot against a Preds team that has just struggled this year.
Defensively, yeah, pretty bad, and they've struggled on the penalty kill too, and that's something you want to keep in mind for this Blue Jacket side. Just my number one concern with the Blue Jacket side, especially the forwards, is that Torts is missing up. He's mixing up the lines 24/7. You don't know if your player's even going to play the entire game because he's very prone to sitting their superstars. So I think the Blue Jacket side is just like not a spot that I'm even going to touch tonight. But I'm only doing 3 lineups. So if you're doing MME, then you can definitely go there. But Seth Jones, 5,900, he's fine. But just a terrible, terrible game. A game that no one's going to be watching tonight.
Yeah.
You want to move on?
Sure.
All right. So, Kings, Coyotes. From the Kings side here, it looks like they were matched up against the Coyotes 1 line, which I hate. I'm so sad about. And again, this is just a game where it's, the only 2 lines that you're really interested in taking is Kings 1 and Coyotes 1. And Coyotes 1 have been lights out this season. I'm not sure if anyone's been keeping up, but Connor Garland has 100 shot attempts so far in 16 games. He has been a complete different player than what we've seen last year. But we kind of predicted this from Garland. We were playing him a lot in Draftkings last year at like that 4,900 price tag because of his shot volume. His line was extremely productive. And then all of a sudden he gets, 2 more line mates that seem to have pretty good chemistry and they've been buzzing out of the gate. But from the Kings side, I just think it's a really hard matchup against Coyotes 1. They've been lights out defensively. I did a write-up on Garland. He has 52 goals for and 30 against. 5-on-5 over the last 2 years. So he's just not letting opposing teams score on him. So not too much to like from the King side at all tonight. If it is Cal Peterson going, like you mentioned, he is a goalie that I'm very interested in. The Coyotes have pretty high shot volume. Cal Peterson's been a solid goaltender this year. He has really good advanced numbers. So don't mind Peterson at all on the King side. And then from the Coyote side, quickly, Chikrin is a good play on defense. If you're going anywhere tonight, I do like Coyotes 1 quite a bit. Even though they're in a tough-ass matchup against the Kopitar line, I still think they're a very, very skilled line. And if they get some bounces on the power play, that they'll pay off at no ownership tonight. So Coyotes 1, Chikrin, Kemper is also a good play tonight. Cal Peterson. And then if you want to go on the Kings side, you can take Kings 1, but it's just a tough matchup tonight for them.
Yeah, I think I'm just looking at Kopitar's game log here, and that first line has just, I almost want to call them matchup proof. It doesn't matter who they really go against. They just always seem to find the back of the net as a line in general as well. So I'm a little bit more inclined to go with Kings 1 than Coyotes 1, just because I feel like it favors them in terms of a matchup a lot better than, like, they seem matchup proof to me, and I always see them like on the scoreboard for the Kings. So I'm probably a little bit heavier on the Kings 1 than I would Coyotes 1, even though Coyotes 1 has been fantastic. The only thing that kind of worries me about the Coyotes 1 is a lot of their success, even though they've been going against the O'Reilly line in St. Louis for like 7 games in a row, it's tough to like play a team 7 times in a row and then be able to like adapt to other teams and their styles of play, just because you get so used to like that same style, right?
Yeah.
So it's possible that they could have potentially found like a weakness in the way that the Blues play, and they've just been able to exploit it. But I want to get a little bit more of a sample out of this team in terms of like variation of playing different teams, and I think this will be a good indicator against the Kings' first line, which is shown to be very productive no matter who they go against. So Doughty at 6,200, he's been really good this season, but I think he's just a little bit too expensive for me. Like, I feel like if you're willing to pay $6K for a D, you would go with somebody like Yossi and just pay up for somebody that's 6,800 instead of 60. It depends on like what your salary is, obviously, but I think he's a good option still for his price. But I personally would just rather pay up, or even go with Chikrin at 6K for 200 cheaper.
You're not interested in OEL at 6,100 tonight?
OEL's actually been solid if you look at his game log. And I completely lied to you.
Yeah.
He hasn't been good at all.
Yeah, he hasn't.
No, so I'm off OEL for 6,100.
All right. Okay, we'll move on to the one of the premier games, I would say, tonight. In terms of there's one player that in particular that everyone's gonna have their eyes on, and I'm sure everyone knows. But Leafs Canadiens, a really exciting game to watch in real life tonight. I'm not sure how exciting it's going to be for Draftkings though. So Thornton's been great on the top line and the top power play unit. They all correlate. I just think tonight, I don't know if I really want to pay up 4,400 for Joe Thornton, a guy who doesn't shoot the puck. He's very reliant on getting 2 or 3 assists, which is 100% possible playing alongside Matthews, because it just seems like every time he shoots the puck, it goes in the net. But they're facing a tough team tonight. Looks like they are going against Montreal 1, who has been, in a short sample, they've struggled defensively, especially with Toffoli there. He's definitely not someone that brings the team's defensive stats up at all. So that's kind of the only reason why I would take Leafs 1 tonight. But it's a really tough matchup. I think the Canadiens are going to be the hardest team that they face all year. And I still think Matthews is going to garner over 30% ownership tonight on a 9-game slate. So I think he was like 30 or 40% 2 nights ago. And I can see it again tonight. So I think if you're doing anything, you can take Matthews Marner. If you want to leave Joe Thornton off and take someone else with that price tag, you're definitely fine to do that. Get a little bit different from the field. I do think Joe is going to garner quite a lot of ownership tonight, actually, given his game log. So it's going to be weird to how I want to play the Leafs tonight. I might just completely fade them. I'm only doing 3 lineups. So I can see myself going elsewhere tonight. Second line, Hyman's back. Price tag's still way too much for me when he's not playing with the Matthews-Marner combination. I think the Matthews-Marner-Hyman line is really, really, really good. And then, now that he's on this second line, it doesn't interest me as much. So not too much to like here from the Leafs too. On the defensive end, Riley is way too priced up for me tonight. Muslin's too priced up for me. There's just not too much I like from on the Leafs side as a whole, even though it's going to be like a 5-2 game with Matthews with 5 goals, but we'll see.
Yeah, they are extremely expensive. Like Marner over 8K, Matthews almost touching 9 there, Thornton over 4K. Like it's a good spot just because they're all power play one correlated and they've been playing really well as of late, but they're going against the Canadians and it's going to be, we talked about it kind of before the stream, it's going to be that chess match type game again, where I think it's possibly going to be low event. And Morgan Riley's priced at 6,500. Like, I love correlating Riley with either of the top 6, but at that price, again, I would rather just pay for Yossi, a guy that just gets me more peripherals and still the same upside in terms of like offensive production. Mikko Letnin's a pretty good punt D tonight just because he sees power play 2 time. He doesn't play a lot outside of that, so you're just kind of hoping that just as a punt D that he's able to pick you up like maybe 1 or 2 assists tonight. But again, it's probably going to be a very tight game, and him playing on that third pair he's probably going to see limited minutes in general. So outside of the power play, I think he's just a punt D. I'm off Anderson tonight too. I think this game, as potentially low event that it could be, I still think the Canadians are going to score some goals. So I'm probably off Freddie tonight just because of that reason altogether. And if I'm going anywhere with the Leafs tonight, I think it's the second line. You've seen them kind of struggle as of late, and Tavares ended up playing with Marner just at the end of the game last game, which is kind of something to keep an eye on. They're trying to get him going, I think. So
yeah, they need to.
We did see Willie up on the top line with Matthews and Thornton. So I think just in terms of like an ownership play and a price play, I think line 2 is just the better option tonight for the Leafs.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to pay up for that top line, and then if you put Riley in there, you're like handcuffing yourself for the rest of the night. So
yeah, you can't do anything really.
Yeah, so Canadians tonight, line 1, I'm not interested at all, especially going against this Matthews line, who has literally given up 0 scoring chances. Matthews has really shaped into the defensive player you've hyped him up to be over the last 2 years, but he's been a defensive stud. This line has really limiting chances, and that's what the Leafs need. So I can't really see myself touching the Canadians 1 tonight. Toffoli has been good. I still think he's very, very overrated right now. And he's 7,400. He's more expensive than John Tavares, which is I don't think we would ever have thought. Second line, I always like. They are always a really good price. They're under 14K tonight. There's going to be a pretty high total in this game, so I do think that they're going to get some scoring chances. And they're going against a Tavares line, which I think is the better matchup tonight. So they're going to be playing against line 2 and then more of the Leafs depth, if anything. So don't mind Canadians 2 at all tonight. On the defensive side, not too much I like. Again, Petrie's just a little too pricey for me at 6,700. Weber just hasn't really been getting it going as much as we've seen in the past with his shots and blocks. And then Carey Price is 7,600. The only reason why you would play him is to get the 2% ownership with your Canadian stacks as a correlation play. But, it's just hard for me to take Price against the Leafs tonight.
Yeah, it's tough no matter what goalie in this game. I think, again, there's better options on the slate tonight, ones that are a little safer to go to, just because we don't know how this game's going to play out. It could be a very tight game, and both goalies could see, 20 shots total, and it just be super low event, or it could be, a 5-4 game. Who knows? But I think if I'm going anywhere with the Canadians tonight, it's Canadians 2. I just think that they've been the most consistent line for me this year. Anderson always seems to find the back of the net when I take that line. So I really enjoy taking that line, especially with Toffoli not being on that third line. Really, there's not any type of justification to take that third line for me. I'm actually shocked that they moved him up because they've been playing well just with Toffoli being on that third line. I guess they want to get him a little more minutes based on the way he's been playing, but in terms of the defense, I'm not too excited about any of them. Weber hasn't been his regular shot volume self. Even Petrie, I've noticed that is kind of slowed down a little bit too in terms of his production. Mm-hmm. His shot volume's still kind of there, and he doesn't really block a lot. So for 6,700, it's kind of like an overprice for me. So I'm probably off Petrie tonight as well. I would rather go with Yossi. I'm gonna say that a lot today. I guess.
Yossi, Dougie. There's a couple guys tonight that we're a little bit more interested in. All right, so Blues, Sharks. This is a game that I was really high on, to be honest. I thought there was going to be a lot of goals scored from the blue side. And I think, quote me if I'm wrong, but did Martin Jones have 44 saves last game? Or am I completely incorrect on that?
But Martin Jones actually had 44 saves last game.
I think he had like a huge outlier game yesterday or 2 games ago. But anyways, so from the Shark side, we see the Kane, Couture, LeBanc line staying together. They do have good numbers in the 86 minutes this season, but dating back to last year, they've struggled a lot defensively. And I think we're going to see more of that as the season progresses, and especially in these tougher matchups against the Blues. So not too much to like from the Shark side tonight. The Couture line's going against the O'Reilly line, who time and time again has just been a terrific defensive line. O'Reilly is an elite defensive forward. So it's going to be hard for the Sharks one to produce anything. Can't really see myself going to much from the Sharks side tonight. I think Erik Karlsson is still out, and he's one of their more competent defensemen. So I just think the Sharks are going to be they're just going to struggle on their own end a lot tonight, and it's kind of a good thing that the Blues didn't pop off last game, and I talked about that before the show because their ownership's going to be lower because of that. And if last game they did pop off, I mean, I would have made some money, but their ownership would be extremely high tonight. So I'm curious to what you're doing with the Sharks team today.
I think I'm off the Sharks today. I think this is a more one-sided matchup, and you can kind of tell based on the pricing of the goalies. If Dubnyk goes, which I'm assuming he is, then I'm like even higher on the Blues because like Jones did have a 42 save.
Yeah, 42 saves. All right.
Actually incredible. And Dubnyk is confirmed, and he's 0-3. His save percentage actually isn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I think that this is just a good opportunity for an under-owned Blues team to pot a couple goals here. I think this is one of the safer plays on the slate tonight, no matter where you go with the first or second line. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the second line just because of their price. Like, you don't get a lot of power play one time between Shen and Samford, but just Hoffman there gives me a little bit of like that high volume shooter that I tend to look for when I'm making my lineups. So I like the second line, and they're a lot cheaper as well. I think they'd be a good filler tonight for sure. And then just on the defense side, no Parayko, and that makes me very sad. But Justin Falk at 5,400, I think is a fair price for a guy that plays over 24 minutes on average and gets power play one time.
Yeah. So the blue side's interesting tonight, and I think you're fine going to Blues 1 or Blues 2 or Blues Onslaught. And I hear that mentioned in other streams. And an Onslaught is just taking 6 players from the Blues, so Blues 1 and Blues 2. And I'm just looking at an app right here, just looking at the Sharks stats. So they're 30th in the league for goals allowed, 27th for shots allowed, 23rd for penalty kill, and 21st for penalty minutes. So they're just an absolute nightmare, and
they're not good.
This is a Blues smash spot. So if you're paying down, you can definitely go with the Blues second line, and if you want to pay up a little bit, go with the Blues top line. And I think you're 100% fine going Justin Falk tonight. And he's going to be in a video that's upcoming this week. We don't have too many viewers in here for the spoilers, but I think Falk is actually one of the more underrated players for the rest of the season this year. And he's a guy that can easily get you 5 shots, 3 blocks, and a couple points. So I love Falk tonight. He's going to be probably one of my favorite defensemen. If I was MMEing, he would be one of my highest owned tonight. His minutes are just, like, he's going to play 25 minutes tonight against the Sharks team that lets up 4 goals a game. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then Binnington, 8,500. Don't like paying up too high for goalies. And tonight, I just think there's a little bit better spots at that price tag. All right, so Lightning, Hurricane. So this Hurricanes. Sorry, there's an S at the end. The Carolina Hurricane, just won. But and we talked about this before the show. This is another sneaky spot for the Lightning tonight. So the Hurricanes have actually been worse defensively than we give them credit for. And another factor too is Carolina takes a lot of penalties, and we know from experience that this Lightning power play has been extremely good. So I think Lightning 1 is actually in a really intriguing spot tonight. They've been good 5-on-5. They all correlate on the power play. And I think the Hurricanes are just going to have a tough time. They're in a back-to-back tonight. And I don't think we have enough sample in back-to-back games to see if teams actually play worse in the second game of a back-to-back. But my assumption is yes. You're playing 20 minutes in a night, and then you're coming up against the Lightning, who you're going to have to skate hard against, right? Like if it was a back-to-back against Detroit, it's kind of a different story because I mean, nothing against Detroit. Like they're, kind of a bad team this year. But I mean, you're definitely not playing. Like if you're Barkov, you're not playing 100% against Detroit. So I think the Hurricanes are going to have their hands tied tonight against this Lightning team. And if you're going anywhere, I think Lightning 1 and Lightning 3 are your spots. I'm going to assume that Lightning 1's going to play against Hurricanes 3. And then Lightning 3 is going against Hurricanes 1. And that's what we usually see in these games. And then on the defensive side, Sergachev, Hedman, too pricey for me. Hedman just doesn't do enough 5-on-5 that I'm excited about, especially with his shots and blocks. But Eric Chernak, 3,600. He's a fine punt defenseman at that price. You can one-off him. You can play him with your Lightning stacks. And then Vasilevsky at 7,800. We see the best goalie in the league under 8K tonight in a matchup where the Hurricanes are coming off of a back-to-back. So I think Vaz is in a really good spot tonight at that price tag.
Yeah, 7,800 coming off of some rest there. The Hurricanes are in a back-to-back. It's a Lightning 1 slam spot for me. I think especially with just the way they've been playing too, right? Like every time I see them on the score sheet, they're usually always correlated. I don't like Hedman for 7K. I would rather go with Dougie or Yossi just for a couple hundred cheaper. But if you do get to that line 1 Lightning and you want to pay up for Hedman just for that power play correlation, I think that's fine. Like that's definitely a good play, just because he does play a lot of minutes and he will be well rested to go against a Hurricanes team that again is on a back-to-back. So I think the Lightning are in a good spot here. Love the third line as well. Always a good filler stack. And if the Lightning pot a couple early on, you're going to see a lot of just them rolling the line. So line 3 is going to get more opportunities as the game goes on. So I think, again, like the second line, just look at I know it's a small sample, and they have Joseph up on that line now.
I don't like the second line ever.
Yeah, it's just you'd rather just pay up for the first line. Just because they're all power play correlated, and then the third line is just so much cheaper.
Yeah, they're cheaper, they're better 5-on-5, and they're going to have a little bit better of a matchup against the Aho line. So don't mind.
They have a larger sample, so you know what you're getting out of them.
Absolutely. Yeah, even when Sorelli was on that second line, like their expected goals was barely over 1. So they just don't produce enough for me to be excited about tonight. Hurricane side, again, and we just talked about this, where they're coming off a back-to-back, and they're going against a Lightning team that's just been super, super strong defensively the last 2 years. And Vasilevsky is a very, very good goalie. So it's going to be hard for me to take the Hurricanes tonight. They don't value out very well anyone in the team. And Nedeljkovic is starting for the Hurricanes, I'm assuming, unless Reimer plays on the back-to-back. But either way, just nothing I like in this Hurricane side tonight at all.
Yeah, Nedeljkovic in net even gives you more incentive to take Lightning 1. But I really like Dougie for his price. I think no matter what the game is, whether it's a favorable matchup or not, he just always seems to be shooting the puck a lot. And he's going to play a bunch of minutes. So I think you're getting what you pay for, especially with him being on power play 1. But outside of that, the Canes second line has been so good as of lately. And I'm a little bit interested to see if they go against the second line, how they're going to produce. Because they've been great 5-on-5. Trocheck's just an absolute stud this year. Nietzsche has looked great. I know you mentioned him kind of prior to the stream and how good he's looked. And that second line has just been clicking. So I made the mistake of taking the third line yesterday when I should have taken the second line. But again, like that happens. And they're even cheaper than the third line too, which is interesting. And so if they see the Lightning second line, like that's kind of the only upside you're looking for if you're taking a Carolina line.
Absolutely. All right. So Wild Ducks, and this is a game that we also were really well. I guess maybe just me, but I'm really interested in tonight. Actually, I think there's a lot of good value to take from this Wild side here. The top line's 15K. They're going to play about 20 minutes. Ek and Fiala are both on the top power play. Fiala has been shooting the puck like a maniac this year, 6.6 shot attempts per game. One of the highest in the NHL on a per game rate. So I like Wild 1 tonight, and I really like the second line on the Wild. They're extremely cheap. They grade out really well. Zuccarello's back in the lineup, played 16 minutes last game, and he's at a 3K price tag. So I'm assuming they're going up against the Ducks' depth tonight, and they haven't really been good defensively. But the only kicker is, and I know you're going to say it, so I'll just say it first, is that John Gibson's in net. So that's the only reason why I would kind of shy away from the Wild. But the way I'm looking at it is, if you're paying up for Lightning 1 at 20K and you're paying 10K for Wild 2, you're just hoping that Wild 2 gets like a full line goal and maybe a couple shots. And they pay off 2-3x value, and then you're hoping for the Lightning line to just pop off. So the Wild are projected to score over 2 goals tonight, and it's going to come from somewhere. On the defensive side, so I was told that Brodin is in tonight right before the show. So I'll just toss him in there. He's someone I'm always interested in at 4,400. He shoots, he blocks. He's a 5'3" guy. That'll get you your 5 shots, 3 blocks. Plays a lot of minutes. But I do wish his price tag was a little bit cheaper. So I think you're fine to go Dumba and Wild 2 if you wanted to correlate. And you can definitely put Kakinen in net tonight. Ducks don't score any goals. But the only thing to look out for here with Kakinen is the Ducks have a really low shot volume, and that's kind of what you're looking for with your goaltenders. So he's definitely more of a correlation play than a one-off goaltender tonight.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I was going to mention, is that I still have PTSD from that one game that I didn't correlate my goalie, and I had Kemper in net, and just the Ducks had like 2 goals on 15 shots, and it lost me some money that night. So I think that you just got to be careful with that goalie situation in the Wild. But I'm disappointed to see Dumba on power play 2. I was hoping with him coming back into the lineup, he'd just slot right in that power play 1 spot. Just because Suter and Spurgeon, Spurgeon at least is a ghost minutes guy, and we've seen his price come down, so I guess it's like more justifiable now. But I would rather just pay the 4,800 for Dumba over Suter and Spurgeon, just the guy that's going to shoot the puck a lot more. But I think Wild 1 is a really interesting play tonight, just because of I love how much Fiala's been shooting the puck. He was a guy that was just on an absolute tear at the end of the season. Last season, so just definitely something to keep an eye on. Should be a favorable matchup. And again, the only thing that worries me is Mr. John Gibson, but he's unconfirmed, so I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen with that. He should start tonight. It wouldn't make sense for him not to start, unless you said he played 14 of the last 15 games.
And that's what I was going to say. Yeah, he's played 14 games. 14 out of their 15 games has been Gibson, so I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Miller tonight.
Yeah, so if Miller starts, then that's just another incentive to take either of these top 2 Wild lines. Yeah. I think you could even Parise's just okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's the top 6 for me with the Wild, just because of the power play correlation as well. So they're cheap, they're affordable, they're in a good spot against a very bad Ducks team, and you're just praying that Gibson doesn't start tonight.
I mean, if it's any night to not start him, it's probably against the Wild, I would say. So I'm just going to answer a few questions in chat. So Miggs is saying no Mika jersey. Miggs, I'm rocking the Mika jersey right now, man. He needs to score today. Also, what's up with Braden Shed not PP1 now? Do you think he'll go back up there?
I just think they're splitting their power play.
Yeah, they're splitting their power play quite a bit here, it looks like. Would you do Grubauer, Olofsson, and Verhaeghe for Kucherov in a keeper league? Yeah, I would.
Yes.
Kucherov is still a top 5 keeper. Would you trade Forsberg, Wheeler for DeBrincat, Marchand? Yeah, DeBrincat, Marchand side by quite a bit there. Hoffman or Forsberg? Tonight, Hoffman for me. Huberdeau's getting no love on DK. He had a lot, he was 30% owned last night, wasn't he?
He was high up there.
He was like 25 or
I had
26% in my
Florida power
contest.
play.
But do you want to just skim over the Duck side? There's literally nothing I like on the Duck side. I don't know if you have any takes, but I'm good to skip it.
It's Gibson if he starts, and that's
Yeah.
it. Like for 7,100, like that's such a good price.
All right.
I will have him in the lineup for sure if he starts, but that's just if he starts, right?
Fair enough. Do we actually miss the Detroit game? Oh, they're at 5. They play at 5. Okay. So not on the slate tonight. All right. Final game. Flames Oilers. We see our content guy behind the scenes. It's kind of messing with us tonight. We got Dion Phaneuf here on defense with the Flames, but so the Flame side, guys. So to Chuck, Backlund, Mangiapane. So I just want to have last game up. Oh, I don't have it up anymore. I'm the worst. But anyways, so this line dating back to last season is extremely good 5-on-5. And the only thing that's kind of keeping me away from them tonight, and I have it here. I'm just going to drag this over here. Let me see if you guys can. Oh, you guys can't see it. What if I do this? All right, you guys can see the goals for. So, Mangiapane, Backlund, Tkachuk, and this is last season. They are the best line on Calgary, and we loved them last year. I took them a ton last year, and they're affordable. They're $15K tonight against an Oilers team. Assuming Koskinen's going to net tonight, he is leading the league in goals against. He has like a 350 goals against average. He's just a terrible goaltender. And the only thing that's kind of keeping me off them tonight, at any sense, is that they're going against this McDavid line. That's what we saw last game, 73% against the McDavid line. The McDavid line has actually been really good defensively, and that's something that's really been a shock to me because I remember last year, like McDavid lines were like the lines to target against just because of how poor he was defensively. But it looks like this Gaudreau, Lindholm, Levo line is facing off against the Oilers' second line and the depth. And that's a line that's been brutal defensively this year. But I do think I'm going back to Flames 1 tonight. I just think that they're producing so many chances. And even last game, they had 14 Corsi for, 5 against, 5 scoring chances for, 2 against in 12 minutes. So assuming they're still going to be paired up together tonight, I think they're in a really good spot. They're a good pay down option as well. And the Oilers' first line last game had 7 Corsi for and 18 against. And this is a line that has really shown no signs of struggling until last night. And we see Markstrom back in net tonight, 7,400. The shot volume is going to be there from the Oilers tonight if you wanted to take Markstrom. But on the defensive side, there's just not too much I like here. Anderson scored last night, but he's now in the third pairing and not in the top power play unit. So there's just not much I like from the Flames defensive core. And I think if I'm going anywhere tonight, it's just going to be the top line.
Yeah, Markstrom back in net tonight, 7,400. I think that's a good price. He's going to see a lot of shots from the Oilers. I think Dion Phaneuf is an absolute slam dunk tonight. He's free on Draftkings, if you guys didn't know, for the Flames. So definitely pick him up in your lineups. And then the only thing you really have to be careful of... the only thing you have to be careful of with the Flames is that... Monahan is listed day-to-day. So he could slot back into the lineup tonight. And that would just like reset the lines essentially back to what they would normally be. Backlund would move back down to the third line with Lucic and Richie. So just something to keep an eye on as the game comes in towards the start there. So outside of that, like Mike showed you guys the numbers, this first line for the Flames has been really good. They gave the McDavid line a little bit of trouble last game, I believe you said.
Yeah, like quite a bit actually.
Before the stream.
Yeah.
So. Again, like that's a good ownership play right there as well, and a line that's not crazy expensive in terms of like a first line price tag, but that'll give you some upside in terms of ownership and potentially some goals there as well, because as good as the Oilers have been, they've still haven't been able to keep that goal total down against them, especially with Koskinen back in net. Just both the Oilers goalies are just awful in my opinion, so I think that either of the top 6 for the Flames are fine tonight, just as you can even use them as filler stacks. But yeah, outside of Dion Phaneuf being free, I think I'm off the Flames D tonight.
Yeah. And someone asked in chat about Sean Monahan. So I just looked on Twitter. There's no updates on if he's playing or not. But I saw a tweet that says, I thought Sean Monahan was just as noticeable tonight as he's been all season, and he didn't play. So seems like there's some fans that don't like him. But as long as Monahan's out tonight, these are going to be the lines we see. But it's definitely something to watch before lock. Not before lock, I guess before the game starts. So just a late swap. But for the Oilers side here, I'm still interested in Oilers 1, even though they have the tough matchup. They have been really good 5-on-5, and they are all power play 1. They scored a full line goal last game, but that's about it. And then Oilers 2, I'm never interested in at all. They just can't get out of their own end. And Yamamoto's been brutal. Mm-hmm. So just not much I like from the Oilers side here. And then, all right, so Evan Bouchard, okay, it was 4,900 last night.
Oh my God!
He played 8 minutes. 8 minutes. What? And the game before that, he played 9 minutes. So I really hope he didn't get any ownership. I didn't touch him, but. Oof. And then Barry Nurse. Nurse played 30 minutes last night. Barry played 26. Barry's definitely back to his Colorado form, but he's priced like it. So I just think there's a little bit better options tonight on the defensive side.
Yeah, unless you're super keen on getting that full power play 1 correlation with the Oilers top line, but James Neal slides into the third line there, so that's somebody to keep an eye on. But outside of that, it's it's Oilers 1 tonight. For me, I think as tough of a time as they had against the Flames last game, like usually what happens is every time McDavid struggles in a game, he'll come back the next game and put up like 3 or 4 points, and you'll just be like, oh God, here we go. McDavid's breaking the slate again. So yeah,
there's 2 slate breakers tonight.
I'll probably have some Oilers 1 tonight for sure. I think just the only thing that you're worried about is Markstrom, right? Like he's such a good goalie. He's been so consistent for the Flames this year that he's capable of just stealing this game as good as Connor and Leon can be. So
yeah, all right. So favorite line tonight. This is going to be probably the hardest one to decide, but yeah. What do you think?
It's a tough one, man. It is not like a lopsided slate at all. There's
Never.
A couple of like close matchups. I'm not gonna play it safe today, and I'm gonna go with okay, I guess you could technically call this playing it safe, but I think just Oilers 1, just being the Canadian division, and McDavid just being able to put 3 or 4 points on the board at any given night, I think is just like you could call it a safe play. So I lied to you, but it's Oilers 1 for me tonight.
Yeah, it's gonna be Blues 1 for me tonight. I like the 2 guys in the top power play, and I like the matchup against the Couture line.
It's another really good look because the Sharks are bad, dude.
Yeah.
No Carlson either tonight, and Dubnyk in net. Oh.
Well, just the fact that their goaltender 6,600 just justifies how bad the team is. And then favorite defenseman tonight?
Favorite D tonight is the one and only Roman Josi.
Yeah, as always, doesn't change. I'm gonna go with Falk. I'm gonna stick to the Blues side. I think it's gonna be a nice 6-2 dub.
6-2, okay.
Yeah. All right, so we have 21 people in the stream right now. You guys know what it's time for. Hat-trick predictions. Don't see too many returning people in the chat from last stream, but I have everyone's predictions from last night and how they did. So it looks like Jeffrey Fuller had the best pick last night with Barkov. He didn't get a hat-trick, but he did have 27.5 points. So
attaboy Jeff.
Attaboy Jeff. So yeah, if you guys want to toss in your hat-trick predictions for tonight, we'll get that going. Hopefully someone hits, but yeah, it looks like 27.5 was the best. No one with the 2-goal performance on here. I had Puljujärvi with a goal in the first 5 minutes, and then it was just blank after that. Who did you have? DeBrincat? Yeah, just an assist.
Yeah. Chicago busted for me last night, but it happens.
So Badner, just for the 7 p.m. games tonight, not the 5 p.m. But I do like the Calabres in the name. As you can probably.
Ray with Jordan Kyrou.
Do you want to destroy my sweater? Palmieri just scored. I told you to start at midnight, Migs.
Buffalo's up 3-1. Eichel with 2 apples. Darlene has an apple. Rangers up 3-1. No goal from Zib.
I know, I checked.
No assist from Zib.
Don't worry, I would have already been told if Zib scored.
All right, Maz got Braden Shen.
Johnny Hockey. I'm pretty sure I listened to his Chicklets interview and he said that he has that trademarked, Johnny Hockey.
Wow. Honestly, like that's a good brand to kind of drive there. I like that name.
Yeah, Migs was asking me about Josh Anderson or Palmieri, but I like the Palmieri matchup against Buffalo, so played Zib over him.
Ryan Rust.
Dude, I'm so close to sitting Zib and like it's crazy. I just hate it because I kept him over Barkov and it's just eating me alive. Like I kept Barkov over Eichel and then Zib over Barkov. Oh man. All right, so it looks like we have our submissions for today. What's your hat trick prediction for tonight?
Oh, my hat trick prediction for tonight is going to be Mike Hoffman.
Michael Hoffman. Okay, let me hop over to the slate quick to just take a quick peek. I'm gonna say Mr. Steven Stamkos going off the board. I'm just kidding, not at all. All right. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you guys haven't already, leave a like on the stream and subscribe. We're going to be doing this almost daily. At least 5 games minimum we'll be streaming. And then I'm definitely going to be streaming on Sunday for players to watch for the week. And we'll go over any trades or anything. Just basic chatter that I do on Sundays. If you guys aren't in the Discord already, definitely hop in there. Click the link tree in our description. It'll give you a link to our Discord, our Patreon, our Twitter. Everything will all be on there, all bundled up. If you guys want access to our spreadsheets, our projections, that's all available on our Patreon. The $15 tier will give you access to our Draftkings projections. But if you guys are curious about trades, we have our awesome trade analyzer here that you can use to help make decisions, and it's super easy to use. You just type in players and we have our projections for them, and you can see, what side wins. So I'll show you guys quickly. Rush for Aho, you see Team B wins. And then there's a custom one where you can customize all the scoring and everything. So yeah, that's available on our $8 tier, and all of our season-long projections, everything, that's all available on our Patreon. So yeah, any closing notes, Mr. Chris Charlton?
Yeah, guys, we throw these little tools in here to help you guys. A lot of the time, like we're trying to get away from just like intuition and opinions and just strictly go based off of the numbers, which is why we have these projection tools available for you. So if that's something you're interested in, then definitely look at hopping into our Patreon subscription there. We give you guys a lot of value. You get just this sheet, and then the trade analyzer, I think it pays for itself, just because you guys are always asking us questions about the trades and stuff, and a lot of the time, like, that's what we're referring to anyways. But outside of that, let's make some money tonight, guys. It's gonna be a tough slate. We're probably gonna shake our heads over this one tonight, but here's to crossing our fingers and to making some money tonight if you guys are playing some DraftKings. But there is a lot of good hockey on tonight, so I'm excited for tonight. Just in general. Gonna
be a good viewer experience tonight for sure. Anyways, guys, thanks everyone for tuning in once again. I'm going to be streaming tomorrow. I'm going to have my waiver wire video out hopefully today or tonight. And yeah, look forward to that.